Hello everyone, you're watching Inside Out, Life Inspirations from Within. My name is Nina Ehrman, and today my special guest is Elena Bensonoff, who came all the way from Florida to us, Paris, to do a circle. I'm so excited to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for being here.
Such a beautiful place and a beautiful group of people.
So today we did a circle on healing chakras, and Elena is a consultant, a pharmacist, but also a spiritual health practitioner.
Yes.
So how do you bridge the two? That's kind of a paradox in itself.
Yes. So I came from a background of very traditional medicine, pharmacy, and I worked in the field of pharmacy for over 10 years. And it was about 11 years ago that my life has drastically changed when I attended a functional medicine workshop. And one of the cardiologists had us get up and practice Qigong. So that was really my first awareness into what energy, or recognizing what energy felt like. And it sort of like the light bulb went off. And I became very thirsty, hungry for the information and knowledge of what this energy is. How do we experience it? How does it affect us? And through all kinds of studies, I recognized the need that there was a lack in between merging the two worlds, the spiritual world and the scientific world.
Yes.
So I felt that it was really kind of my mission. It became my mission
to bridge the two.
To bridge the two, to marry the two. And ultimately, I believe that two cannot exist without each other, that it's ultimately the same thing. Because it's one thing to pursue the spiritual path, it's another thing to recognize that we're living on earth as in physical bodies. So it's what I found is most people who are pursuing one are disconnecting from the most important one, which is our physical existence. So in my practice, I don't ever work or treat people and allow them to just follow the spiritual path. We have to balance the body first. That means looking at gut health, looking at the hormones, looking at the neurotransmitters, looking at the diet, right? Looking at our emotional patterns, our belief systems. Everything is connected.
Right.
And nothing is separate.
So first you gotta heal yourself and really look into the bones and flesh and everything.
It's always a combination of both. So depending where the person comes in to see me, right? So it depends on the density of their symptoms, I would say. You know, some people will come in and it's just emotions they're dealing with and they don't know how to clear them. Others come in and they have more severe symptoms.
And this is dense energy. I just learned this from you.
Right,
it's energy that has been dense over years and is manifesting now in a disease.
Through the body. And the end stage would be a disease. And most of the time people that come, they're already really sick or they're taking a lot of medications. So it's really, the way that I look at my work is I look at it as a preventative medicine. So instead of allowing yourself to get to the end or the result of a disease, which is also kind of a way, it's an awakening stage because it gives you an opportunity to create a shift, right? Whether to continue the way you've been being, right, and living, or perhaps become something else, right? Or sort of like transmute into something else.
It's like a wake-up call. You say, you know what, you can do the same, but this is what's going to happen with your body and your emotions.
So for me, you know, I always like to look at, because I do work with medical practitioners, right, with physicians where I live, so it's always important to work as a team. And also educating people that we're all guides, right? So ultimately, it's the patient's or the client's responsibility to heal themselves. So we provide tools, right? I provide tools. So if it's, whether it's looking at their diet and adjusting diet based on their needs, right? Or what their sensitivities are, or perhaps it's fixing their gut or looking at their brain function, because everything is intertwined. If people are taking medications, you know, it's looking into what medications are contributing to your imbalance and what can we do to decrease it. Because a lot of medications also tend to rob our system of very important nutrients. So it's also understanding that even though you're using one thing, you think to mask the symptoms, but you're robbing your body of everything else.
Right, it's all in balance, right? If you're excessive in something, then...
Correct. And ultimately, the root cause of every disease is emotional and mental imbalance.
Interesting.
So
people who cannot come and see you personally.
Yes.
And there's a overwhelmed of information, what is the first thing they can do?
So the first step I would say is they can take an online assessment. It's free. It's a great tool to begin to look at yourself in a different way.
Yes, and I've taken it. It's like a chakra test that tells you, that goes through a lot of questions and gives you kind of the
very comprehensive result,
yeah.
and also gives you the steps that you can do to bring balance by yourself. And then there's, of course, meditations that people can do. They can also book a session online. There's several books I would suggest reading. One of my favorite books, and we've talked about that, it has nothing to do with chakras, it has to do with the science of epigenetics, is The Biology of Belief, or The Honeymoon Effect, by Dr. Bruce Lipton. He talks about how the environment is what dictates to what happens to our genes.
Oh, genetic.
All right. So even though you're born into genetic patterns, let's say of diabetes, right, or cancer or heart disease, it's only a small portion of it. So your genes can be turned on or off based on the environment. And the environment that dictates what happens to your genetic information is your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, right? So those are so important. And it also goes back to the research in Japan that Dr. Emoto did on water, right? Water molecules. And he studied thousands of water molecules, right, in the lab, exposing them to different emotions, to music, right, to thoughts. And then looking under the microscope, what happens.
What happens with this energy.
Right. And, you know, you could see the beauty when it's love, right? And when there's hate, you could see what it does to the water molecules. So ultimately, what I do and what I feel everyone should realize is we're all energy beings. Yes. So it's extremely important to keep ourselves clear and in balance, because that's the way that we can create a positive shift in the world.
Absolutely, because the energy you're bringing in every day, you're on a creating on a collective conscious level.
Correct.
Whatever you see out in the world. So it's the mirror reflection.
Yes.
You know, wherever you see fear or anger or things that you don't agree with, where in your life can you be less angry and less fearful and less resentful and manage your energy?
That's right.
Thank you so much for being here, Elena.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. Thank you.